guys, welcome back to my review of Mistborn, The Well of Ascension by Brandon Sanderson. Let's get into it. Let's get into this. This book, people warned me that these books were traumatizing, but golly, it was bad enough that Kelsier died in the last book, and now this book. So, Vin and Elend and the group have successfully overthrown the Lord Ruler. And now they have to be the government. This is very realistic, and I enjoy how much thought Brandon Sanderson puts into this. Of like, we were fighting the government just a few months ago, and now we're the government. What do? How do we bring about the change and progress that we seek and desire without, like, royally screwing everything over? Totally valid concerns. As I mentioned in my last review, and is mentioned at the end of book 1, Kelsier specifically chose his team, not only because they were good at what they did, but because he knew they would be able to fulfill certain roles within the new government they would have to form. I love that Kelsier had that much foresight. I mean, he didn't know all the other problems that were going to come, like, magic-wise, but he did understand that, like, okay, if we're going to overthrow the government and then, like, replace it, we need to have people in place to do that. And because we don't really have Kelsier around, though he is kind of, like, always his presence in the book, shall we say. I love that we get to spend a lot more time with the crew and get to learn more about them and how they're dealing with things. I mean, poor Dox, Kelsier was his BFF, and now he's gone. He's stuck being the paper-wielding bureaucrat, and Breeze is trying to, convince people to not kill their tiny little kingdom of the capital, and Ham's a general who gets too attached to his soldiers. Clubs is just kind of Clubs, but, he's affected too. Spook's trying to grow up and be more helpful to the group, and Sazed. Oh, man. And so they're just dealing with trying to form a new government. And Elend is so freaking precious. He is such an idealist. He's like, look, I've been reading about this my whole life. I've been studying, like, what we should do if this chance ever came. And now this chance came, and I'm trying to seize it. And he tries so hard to help transition people. He takes the title of king. He's a noble. That gives their reign a little bit of legitimacy. But he's then also trying to give people a voice. He establishes a council, and he's just... I love how it is a constant flaw through this book that Elend is too perfect at writing his own laws, and he's too honest to exploit a loophole other people don't know about. He is so freaking precious! Like, oh my goodness. Then you found yourself a golden boy. Oh, man. Poor Elend, he's like, yeah, I'm the king, but also I have, like, no power because I gave all the power to the council, and then they freaking voted him out. He is so well-meaning, and it's a little bit sad to see him become a little bit more of a realist throughout the book. But it's kind of necessary, unfortunately. If you're gonna keep your government from doing something stupid, like turning it over to your evil father, who will, like, turn everything back to the way it was and put Ska back in their place. No. It's a really fun juxtaposition of Vin and Elend pushing against each other. They're in a loving, healthy relationship, which, yay! Oh my gosh, they're so cute. And they're always pushing and pulling on each other, trying to make themselves their better self. Both struggle with insecurities. Oh, I'm not an allomancer. I'm not good enough for her. She's Mistborn. She doesn't need me to protect her. Da-da-da-da-da. And Vin's like, I'm not good enough for him. He's nobility. I'm not really. I don't know how to help him with line junk. I just kill people. That's all I'm good at. And honestly, it's really refreshing to see that there is the drama of miscommunication and not understanding each other or taking the time to do so, But it does end up getting resolved near the end of the book of like, no, I trust you. I trust you with my life. And I trust that you will do the right thing. Which I think is really sweet and really wholesome. And you just don't see a lot of that in media. Really, really love seeing how the relationship grows. In the context of them dealing with rebellions and people trying to take the power from them and other outside forces threatening to attack their city. Absolutely fascinating background to have this happening on. And he doesn't neglect that either, of course. He really gets into like how difficult it is to maintain government and how to make change. Like Sazed near the beginning of the book is going out and he's finally doing his mission that he's been born to do, what the keepers have been working for ages. He's trying to teach people their old beliefs and knowledge, and no one cares. It is so sad. And you can't really blame them. They're hungry. They're scared. When people's basic needs aren't being met, it's really hard to convince them to care about something more abstract like belief systems. Like, they even ask, is the Lord Ruler coming back? And you're like, wait a minute, from an outside perspective, like, the Lord Ruler was horrible. He put you in this oppressive system where you're ska. Like, why would you want that? But then you also have to look at it. He provided stability. It was stagnant, but it was stable for thousands of years. And the Lord Ruler is kind of like their god. So, God being dead would be kind of concerning. Yeah. You might even want to blame the one who killed God. Because, like, hey, you, Vin, you, Mistborn, you killed him. Now the ash is falling more. I can't get enough food. Like, it sucked in the old way, but at least we had food. It's really sad that is a lot of the times the mentality with people. It takes a certain spirit to be able to push past that, but you absolutely cannot blame these people. They're suffering. And there's only so much our protagonists can do to help them immediately. But the important thing is that they do try. They do their best to push forward their new ideas while also providing security and, you know, making sure people don't starve and die and are beaten needlessly. So it's really interesting watching that through the whole thing. There's that really famous quote that the revolution eats its own children. And you see that, like, firsthand in this book. Like, several times the crew mentioned to each other that they're super uncomfortable that they were, like, rebelling against the government, and now they are the government. They can't go on heists anymore and steal from the noblemen. Now they have to, like, act differently. And once you lose something to fight for, it's harder to group people together. Like, the Ska, by Kelsier's martyrdom, were united to uprise and overthrow the Lord Ruler. However, with Kelsier gone, and them trying to make this new government and figure things out, a lot of them have lost a bit of that will. They're frightened. They're like, oh my gosh, the ash. Oh my gosh, we have attackers surrounding us. You really can't blame them. So yeah, the revolution can eat its own children sometimes. And throughout the trilogy, they're just dealing with the problems that they've made. They're glad they did them, of course. What they did was noble, and change definitely needed to happen. But it's just rough. Another really interesting element throughout this whole book is religion. Kelsier becoming a martyr has turned him into a figure of worship. Some people are calling him their new god. And poor Vin, being seen as his heir, gets kind of like roped into this religion. She's like, I am not a religious figure. I am barely comfortable with the fact that, like, I'm loved by the king of the city. I accept I'm a Mistborn, but please don't worship me. This is weird. And I would feel weird too. I would feel really weird and uncomfortable. But people just grab on to hope, and it helps them through it. Like, it's rather sad, but also very inspiring that you see these people are so convinced that good things will happen if they stick close to those who are close to Kelsier, like Vin and Sazed. And it's just really, really interesting. Like, in the battle near the end, Sazed is guarding one of the gates, and a bunch of the worshiper comes, and he's like, get out of here. And they're like, no, Vin's coming back. Our protector is coming back. And when she comes back, she's coming to find you. And Sazed's like, okay, whatever. I have to protect you guys. And then lo and behold, that's where Vin shows up. Like, that was pretty cool. Sanderson is so masterful at throwing out all these threads and, like, pulling them together at the end. Ah, yes. It was also super interesting with all the scholarly stuff going on. Zed finding that inscribing in the Steel Ministry place with Marsh, and then him with Tindwyl? I have no... Fantasy names, guys. Fantasy names. I apparently need to go listen to videos of Sanderson talking about these characters so I know how to pronounce their names. I wish there was a pronunciation guy in the back. At least Aragon and some other stuff had that. They're trying to look into this prophecy, and it's really fun getting the snippets, what was inscribed on the walls throughout the whole book, only for things to be not as they appear. They're being deceived, and you don't know by what, but something's not right. There's a traitor in their midst. Things aren't what they remember they are. The mists are acting cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. And you're like, okay, what's going on? And as I said previously, he just leaves just enough for you to, like, wonder. There is a little bit enough there for you to come to the correct conclusions, but he is so good at being an unreliable narrator and leading you to the false conclusions before he leads you to the real conclusion. And he does it multiple times. He's like, oh, it's this. Oh, it's this. Oh, it's this. Oh, here's the real conclusion. Ta-da! Alendi was supposed to be the hero of ages. Nope, Rashek took it. So is he the hero of ages? Oh my gosh, the hero of ages is for sure Vin. She really needs to go to the Well of Ascension. Another thing that's super realistic is the problem of money. In the previous book, Kelsier specifically was attacking the money, and ATM is the most valuable resource in the Empire, so he went and blew up the pits of Heathston where they mine it. Yeah. So ATM is now rarer than before, and they don't know where it is. They know the Lord Ruler has a ton of it somewhere, because the Venture family was the ones in charge of transporting it. And what went to the Lord Ruler was not the same amount that went back to the nobles. So where is it? They need this currency because they can sell it to other people. They can use it in battle. Poor Vin used up her last one during an assassination attack. If someone else has ATM, she doesn't. She's super vulnerable because it allows you to see a few seconds into the future. It's like the Force precognition. And, where is it? Where is it? You need that money. I love the story and character arcs that happen during this. There's so much romance in this book. It made me so happy. Oh my gosh. Vin and Elen go through some relationship problems, but they come out strong near the end and they get married. Oh my gosh, it's so freaking cute. They're married. She was too scared to marry him, and then she's like, I don't want to be without you. Marry me. Da, 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 da. So Zed and Tindwyl, oh my goodness. He's like, she'll never love me. I've had a crush on her for forever. But, like, I'm a eunuch. Why would she want someone who's not a real man or whatever? And she's like, no, I was stuck in the breeding program. I'm sick of men. I want you. And then she dies. Ah! And then you've got Breeze with Arlene, and it's super freaking cute. And he's like, I'm too old for you. And she's like, I don't freaking care. I want you. And they are adults, so it's okay. And he's actually, like, really happy with her, and I love Aurane because she's just, like, a deceptive character. Vin, of course, from her perspective, just dismisses her as totally flaky and shallow. But she has so much more depth. She's clever, she's a good writer, and she really does love Breeze. It's super freaking cute. I love a good politician, noble girly who, like, can play people and be pretty while doing it. Like, that's really fun. I love Vin too. She's like, I'll look pretty and then I'm gonna go get dirty and, like, beat up people and kill them. That's fun too. But, like, this is also fun. People just underestimate her and she's like, I got you. I did all this to save the people I care about. Let's go. But yeah, there's just so much cute romance in this book. Some of it's tragic. And while Vin and Elend are dealing with relationship problems, freaking Zane shows up. Oh my gosh. I didn't like Zane the moment I met him. I'm like, something about this character is off. He is toying with Vin. I don't like him. And then you find out he's the Ska half-brother of Elend, which is why he looks so much like him. And he's a freaking Mistborn. And you're like, yeah, no, girl, don't do it. And he hears a voice in his head from God who's, like, telling him to murder people. I get it. Sometimes the morally dark boys are attractive, but, like, girl, no. What you have with Elend is precious. Do not throw that away over some crazy. He's crazy. Don't go with him. the romance. It's dang cute. It's dang cute. Made me very pleased. So all the threads going on of deception, and there's a traitor in their midst that they can't find, and what's up with this prophecy? How are we gonna survive this government stuff, this political terror? And oh my goodness, the Conjure betrayal freaking hurt. I thought something was a bit off. I couldn't quite place my finger on it, because I was like, I'm pretty sure none of the crew are betraying Vin. Like, the humans. It took me too long, though, to realize it was the Kandra, or Sir had been replaced by Tensoon. That hurt! Especially because Vin had been trying to work towards improving her relationship with Orsur, or who she thought was Orsur, and making a real bond with him. And then it was Tensoon. He's like, actually, Zane's my master, and I have to obey him. And then he's like, actually, I'm gonna betray Zane because you're better, Vin. And he reminds her of the secret he revealed about his kind, and she uses allomancy on him to get the upper hand on Zane. And Vin is just so clever. Oh my goodness. She's like, I'm gonna let Zane tell me what I'm about to do, and then I'm gonna counter that and kill him. Brilliant! You genius. You little genius. I freaking love Vin. And Elend. Yeah, like that betrayal hurt. And then she's like, don't go, Tensoon. He's like, I have to go face punishment. I'm turning myself in. Hopefully we'll see each other. And you're like, no, stay. So when it is revealed that Zane is Elend's half-brother, to the reader, not necessarily to Vin, that is a very interesting moment. The Ventures are one of the focal points during this book. You have Elend, who's trying to be a good, noble king within the capital city. Then you have his father, Straff, who is wanting things to go back exactly the way they were, except he's in charge. And then you have Zane, who's just insane and jealous. And you look at this family, these three men, a father and his two sons, and it's really tragic looking at this broken family. And what tears families apart? The root of it all is selfishness. Elend doesn't want to kill his dad. He really doesn't. But he knows he's going to have to because his dad is insane and power hungry will stop at nothing. It hurts Elend so much. Straff could not care less. He does not care. Elend is not a Mistborn. Elend is in his way. He's going to kill his son. He wants it done. He keeps sending his other son to go kill him. And why? Because he's selfish. Because he's power hungry. He's jealous. He is jealous that Elend is king. Zane, on the other hand, is furious with his dad for mistreating him his whole life. And he's so jealous of his brother having Vin's affection and attention and getting the respect that Zane's always craved. As much as Straff doesn't care for Elend, Elend is the heir of House Venture. Elend is the noble-born. He has lived his life very comfortably, even though he's not, an allomancer of any kind. Zane, even though he has the very rare prized ability of Mistborn, which is why his dad did what he did to get as many children as possible that were allomancers. But Zane, being half Ska, had to be hidden from society, and his dad just didn't care about him. He really didn't bring out his half-bred allomancer children until he needed to take over the world. And he doesn't love Zane. He doesn't love any of his children, clearly, but Elend definitely was favored because he was legitimate. So Zane's just insanely jealous of his half-brother. It just shows really well what causes most family drama. Someone somewhere is selfish and hurts other people, and it creates bigger problems. And that's just really sad to see. I found it fascinating how the prophecy kept getting messed with through the whole book. That was insanely clever. It's unreliable narrator stuff. For a little bit, I was like, maybe Vin is the hero of ages? A little confused, but maybe. I'm starting to get suspicious of Sanderson, so I don't know. I really don't know. And then poor Vin is convinced she's the hero of ages, and she's drawn to find the well. The mist tries to stop her. They're like, no, use the power to save your husband. And she's like, Elend believes I'll make the right choice, so I'm gonna let the power go. Because that's what the prophecy said, supposedly. Except it really said, don't let Elendi reach the end of the well. He should not release what's in there. And then, dun dun dun, darkness is unleashed into the world. But Vin does save Elend's life, and now he's a Mistborn! How exciting. That was book 2. Holy cow. It was quite sad that a certain amount of characters died. I obviously don't want plot armor for the protagonists. it's much more interesting if their lives are at risk and if some people they care about die. But it's still sad. So many members of the crew died. Like, Clubs died. Tindwyl died. Elen died briefly. Straff and Zane died, which was freaking great. So yeah, Well of Ascension. I liked it. It's traumatizing. I was champing at the bit for the next book. Actually, in this copy, they have a preview for the Hero of Ages with Marsh. I freaking read it and I was like, what the frick is going on? Marsh, baby, Kelsier's brother, you were turned into a Steel Inquisitor. No, Marsh, what's going on? Are you trapped? And I was like, I have to go read the next book immediately. R.I.P. Marsh. Because the whole book, I was like, where is Marsh? Like, Marsh shows up and he's like, Sazed, I need your help. And then he just vanishes into thin air. And I'm like, okay, I know this is like Chekhov's gun just sitting there waiting to be, you know, shot. Where is Marsh? And Sanderson waits until like the freaking last minute to bring Marsh around and he nearly kills Vin. And you're like, what is going on? Why is he trying to kill Vin and he's saying, I can't control it? Like, what is going on? I immediately ran to go read the next book, which is why these reviews have been taking so long, because I just kind of read the whole trilogy all at once because I was too excited. Well of Ascension, great book, 10 out of 10. It was really good. It was really good. It did really well building upon the previous book, had its own great storyline and arc, and totally kept me hooked and interested to immediately go into the next book. I can't imagine having waited for the next book, like 2 years or whatever. No. I'm sure that'll happen to me once I catch up in the Stormlight Archive, though. I'm already enjoying book 1, and so I know that series isn't over, and I'm sure it's gonna hurt once I get to Wind and Truth. Golly, he's such a phenomenal writer, and I am so glad that you guys are really appreciating going with me on my journey into the Cosmere. You guys are fantastic. So make sure to stick around for my next review as I hop around and try out more of the Cosmere and Sanderson's works. Catch you guys later. Bye!